Welcome to True Health Tuesday, and the truth will set you free. Okay, today we're going to talk about how your body actually works, okay? How you're going to adapt and thrive and how your body regenerates, because that's really, really important. Now, if you've ever been ripping your hair out because you see something that's completely not based in science that's damaging human beings, can you give me an amen? Amen. Yes. Yes, sisters and brothers. Okay, so part of this is divided up into things that I think that the Pravda, I'm sorry, that was the Russian news agency. Okay, that our news agency, the Ministry of Truth, okay, will allow us to put forth. The other part will be put forth on the Dr. BVIP. You should be able to watch that. So thank you for help supporting us. And please, as long as we have this channel, we've been shadow banned, we've been demonetized, and we've been had a number of videos deleted. If you could please share this information, because with the censorship now, it's getting less and less and less available. Had a couple of patients in our clinic in Mexico. One gal recovered from, or a guy recovered from pancreatic cancer, and his friend, they're living together, but they're not married. She recovered from breast cancer, and this was like 5-6 years ago. And they told me that the information that they used to reverse their cancers, they got off of standard internet, social media groups, and it was actually deleted. And so when I say go to deleted sites like the Highwire with Del Bigtree, those, I mean, huge. So please get this information out there because we don't know how long the Ministry of Truth will allow it. Extreme Health Academy, I worked for about 4 hours answering questions. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to do another about a 2-hour webinar. And this is incredible. I mean, in plus two, it's kind of cool. I talked to a person from Scotland, person from Australia. Yeah, no, I know. I thought it was a prison camp too. No, they actually have some internet access still. So it's kind of wild, but please get on this, because these are people that have had health challenges and recovered. Now, imagine this. Okay, so we're going to go over because if you're, alive now, you're thinking about health more than likely. You may be thinking about viruses. You may be thinking about shedding. You may be thinking about sickness or illness. Let's just wipe all that crap out, okay, and look at what we know. We know there's an innate, inborn intelligence in the body. It's kind of like if you take a seed, there's a computer program in there that's a biologic computer that could hold a forest. And all you got to do is add soil, dirt, sunlight, a little bit of nutrients, bam, you get a forest. Okay? And it's amazing. Your body is self-healing and self-regulating. If you're curious at if that, because that might be a tough concept. No, this disease runs in my family. Everybody has this disease. Okay, then I say, because your doctor, who's trained in the medical system, which is funded by the pharmaceutical industry, has told you that it's genetic, runs in your family, or all the other bullshit. But what animals in the wild need medications to regulate their physiology? None. Okay. How did human beings get here before the pharmaceutical industry? Were we all dying? No. In fact, human lifespan hasn't changed in the last 2,000 years if you survive childhood. Okay, and childhood, and we're going to go over to why that was so challenging. Now, 97 to 99% of dis-ease symptoms, because remember, everyone should be the exact same. Should everybody, the 400-pound guy that works at the cigar store, should he have the exact same blood pressure and metabolic responses as the 12-year-old gymnast? No, of course not. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So a lot of what's called disease is really an adaptation. Difference between genetic and genetic expression. We've covered talks on this. So you can have the BRCA gene for breast cancer. and every member of your family could have it. Okay, but what causes it to be expressed and suppressed? And we're going to talk about that as well. Now you perceive your environment through the nervous system. So if there is a stressor, you're going to respond to that stress. If there is joy and love and fantastic, you're going to respond to that as well. So now these are 5 things that every human being has to do, and you're doing it every day, and it's going to make you live long. Number 1, assimilation of nutrients. This means that anything you put in your system, okay, your body needs nutrients to build cells, fuel activity, repair damage. It extracts what it can from the food taken in and passes the rest on through the alimentary canal. Nutrients are also used to detoxify and flush out metabolic waste. So when you take something, anything in your mouth, it goes through this long tube that has an out down here. Okay, and it's going to take that and break the proteins to amino acids, the fats to fatty acids, the carbohydrates to usable sugars, the minerals. You're going to use that to utilize the vitamins. I mean, this is literally everything that you need to rebuild. And this is what I tell my kid patients. What'd you have for breakfast? And they'll say, oh, I had a banana and some cereal. Do you know that your body is taking that banana and that cereal and you're breaking it down to these little tiny things? They're the building blocks of your whole body. No chemistry plant in the world can do that, but you did that this morning. So you're going to turn that cereal into eye tissue, that banana into blood. You're going to be strong and healthy because you're turning this into energy. And you got to see the kids. Really? It's cool. Okay, now, excretion of waste. So you're taking in the nutrients, and your body builds and destroys 1 billion cells a day. And this is about average, 1 billion cells. And so you've got to get rid of the cells, and you have respiration, perspiration, pooping, and peeping. Excretion of waste. The body needs to excrete metabolic waste of cellular activity and digestion, as well as remove toxins to maintain optimal homeostatic expression. Optimal homeostatic expression. Does that mean a fever? Yeah, if you need it. Okay, does that mean shivering? Yeah, if you need it. Now, growth. You grow from a sperm and an egg, and this divides into 2 cells, 4 cells, 8 cells. Okay, and it keeps on continually dividing. And then it gets so big like this mulberry blast, and then it flattens out into a trilaminar disc, and then that folds. The fold is actually the notochord, and then the spinal cord is the first thing that forms, and then all the organs form like a fruit on a tree, because the nervous system is this first system to form. I mean, it's brilliant. Now, the body grows to a maximum size, shape, and dimensions, dictated by the blueprint contained in its DNA. Now, this is inside of the nucleus, and this is the blueprint. Now, the brains of the cell are on the outside, because the brains get that stimulus from the outside, and they decide what section of that DNA to replicate. I know it'd be wild to imagine a vaccine that alters DNA replication. Once the I was thinking the same thing. What could possibly go wrong? Here. Okay. Once the body achieves full maturity, then it maintains homeostasis by replacing itself year in, year out through cellular regeneration and repair. And we're going to go due to that, because a lot of the questions asked, well, if arthritis exists, well, why doesn't the body just regenerate it new? And I'll show you why. Reproduction. The body replaces itself on a continuum to maintain homeostatic expression over time. All cells wear out given time frame and need replacement by new cells. Thus, the body is always reproducing itself year after year. It also needs to reproduce itself in form by having offspring to ensure the survival of the species. So reproduction, not just cellular reproduction, but reproduction of our species. Because we do have a finite life. We're supposed to go to about 120 years, okay? And that's with full health. That's with full vibrant function, not the last 40 years in a wheelchair, because that's not natural. Being funneled a ton of chemicals to alter your physiology. That doesn't make sense. Now, adaptation. So think of this: assimilation of nutrients, elimination of waste. growth, reproduction, and adaptation. Adaptation. The body needs continually to adapt to the ever-changing environment in order to survive, to express its greatest homeostatic potential for long term. I mean, I literally was outside in the sun for about 6 hours. The sun radiation hit my skin. My melanin production is going to be up, so I'm going to be, dark. That's an adaptation. Now, this is the key. That digestive tract is taking everything you put in your system and breaking it down to what the building products of your body: protein, fats, carbohydrates, minerals, enzymes, and all of this stuff gets regulated by the digestive system. Now, that tube that goes from the esophagus into the stomach, into the jejunum, into the ileum, into the intestinal tract, out the rectum, that entire canal contains 100 million neurons. 100 million neurons are surrounding the esophagus, the stomach, the jejunum, the ileum, the colon. And these neurons, and this is more neurons than in your spinal cord and in your whole periphery nervous system. So if you're touching yourself and you want to wonder how thick the nerves are or how much they, try and touch yourself and not feel it. Okay, those are all nerves. And if you ever saw those body exhibits, literally, if you could just leave the nervous system where it is and remove all the flesh, you'd be able to recognize it. Okay, it'd probably scare you, but you could do it because there's not a place that doesn't have a nerve. Now, breaking down food, absorbing nutrients, expelling waste requires chemical processes, a mechanical mixing, rhythmic muscle contractions, everything. And there's one nerve that does this. It's called the vagus nerve. It does all of that. The weird thing is, and it's called the second brain because it's independent of brain control. This is why people that have spinal cord injuries, that have lost breathing, they've lost everything, they still have gastric motility. Okay, so it's an independent system. Now, 90% of the nerves, okay, so that vagus nerve, and this is hugely important, that does everything, that excretion, that chemical processing, mixing, everything. That's only 10% of what it does. 90% of what that nerve does is send information to the brain. 90%. So now ask yourself, why? If your body needs to have that assimilation, you need to have that waste removal, you need to have that recognition of the processes of the 5 keys to life. Okay, is it important that your body recognizes what you put in that system? Absolutely. When you smell stuff, oh man, my body has got to start producing the acid to digest that banana or that cereal or that broccoli or that steak or that, whatever you're going to put in the mouth. And you have to break that down because you're in a continually rebuilding and adaptive process. Now, 95% of the body's serotonin is found in there. The enteric nervous system, the gut-brain connection, uses more than 30 neurotransmitters, just like the brain. So assimilation of nutrients, excretion of waste, okay, and literally the rebuilding, and that's your digestive tract. Now, what kind of things affect it? Physical stress, chemical stress, and emotional stress, because this is environmental stimuli. And now remember, this is the health of our animal population. We are the sickest animals on the population, on the planet, that have ever been. In fact, half our population will get cancer, autoimmune, heart disease, diabetes, everything else. But we're raised with this. And so who brought you the health of this population? Do you think hard work, organic food, natural living, or do you think the healthcare system that we have now actually brought this? Well, this is actually brought to you by a pharmaceutically inspired healthcare system that does not work. It does not work. Okay, now if I gave one vitamin C to everybody in this room, okay, would it all have a different effect? Yeah, kinda. Some people would metabolize it really well. Some people would use it as the anti-inflammatory aspect. If you've had joint injury, okay, that's going to be an oxidative metabolic process. So the vitamin C is going to go in there and deactivate the free radicals to make inflammation work. Some people are going to use it to strengthen the immune system, although we can't say that. Okay, even though Linus Pauling won 2 Nobel Prizes. Okay, so So the entire system, the healthcare system, and this is what I tell all my patients, what kills more people, guns or doctors? Doctors. And they say that immediately. And 100% of the time, if people are taking multiple pharmaceutical products, I'll say, look, you and me, we're living on a deserted island. We get out of here. We have fresh fruit, fresh water, fresh vegetables, no access to pharmaceuticals. Does your health improve or decline? What do 100% say improve? Okay, and then I've got patients that are so trained by our system, 12 years of being a good boy or a good girl. So you're going to listen, okay? 12 years of that, okay? And they're saying, doc, I get that prescription every month, but I don't fill it, okay? And I go into my doctor and I just tell him, that I'm not taking those cholesterol or blood pressure drugs. Why? Tell him that your blood pressure is normalized because you understand that your body is self-healing and self-regulating, and you added water to your diet and you changed your sleep pattern so you don't require it. Tell him that cholesterol is 50% of the overall weight of the brain, so you don't require a chemical that lowers blood pressure or lowers cholesterol and has all the effects of that, like brain fog, dementia, joint pain, and everything else. So you know what I mean? There's a group, a silent majority out there that are lying to their doctors. Now, rheumatoid arthritis. I'm going to bring up a couple of cases. Now, is rheumatoid arthritis a disease or an adaptation? Don't answer. Okay. And you can say, well, it runs in my family. My doctor said this. My doctor said this. Okay. What does it look like outside of the body? Is the body really attacking itself, or is it really an adaptation? Now, realize the drugs they give suppress the immune system. Suppress the immune system. Now, your body has to get assimilation of nutrients, elimination of waste products. You've got growth, you've got repair, you've got adaptation, okay? If anything that helps those is good, anything that slows or stops a metabolic process that is designed to keep you alive is not good. Am I going too fast? Okay, good. Okay, so when we're looking at this gal here, she's got a reverse curve in the neck. Now, the body is continually growing and reproducing itself. So now, when she had a trauma, okay, that reversed the curve in her neck, the body has still got to lay down new tissue, okay, and it's going to be laying it down. Now, for every 1 inch forward head carriage, the pressure on the disc double. That baby is nearly a full inch forward. Now, the body is going to start to lay down the tissue, because if there's alteration in movement, then the disc gets compressed. So the body is going to start to distort the bone to increase the surface area so it can be more stable. So those bone spurs are not bone spurs, they're adaptive physiologic responses based on the altered mechanics. So then I can look at the amount of distortion and say, hey, this was minimum 5 to 8 years ago. If it's grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, okay, then we could say, 15, 20, 30, 35 years or more than that. It could be a lot longer, but it wouldn't be less, because that's how the body changes and lays it down. Now, we look at the thermography. We're looking at over the right chest area, lots of signals, okay? And you can call it estrogen dominant, you can call it toxicities, because the way the body works, you've got lymph drainage for the whole face, mouth, into the right upper quadrant, okay? You got lymph of the gut to the left upper quadrant. Now we're looking with the reverse curve in the neck. That's where C3, C4, C5 keeps you alive. That's where the nerve to the diaphragm is exiting. So does she have alterations in breathing? More than likely. Now, that is carbon dioxide. It's also a lot of waste products, cellular debris, everything that comes out. I know. It makes me want to breathe in your breath there, sir. I know. Wouldn't that be crazy to think, yeah, I'm being healthy. Okay, yeah. I mean, just like psychotically stupid. And when you see an owner muzzled and the dog not, you go up to the dog and say, does your owner bite? Okay, so we're looking here. We're also seeing the liver area inflamed. Now, this doesn't mean that the liver is damaged or anything. If there's an increased metabolic response by the liver, okay, does it mean that it's processing the nutrients? Absolutely it does. But it's also processing Tylenol or Advil or Motrin or Aleve. Okay, this is why Tylenol is deadly to the liver. We're also so all of these metabolic processes, and this is what we do. We look at the structure, we look at the thermography to look at different metabolic processes. When we're looking at the full spine there, we're looking at abnormal bowel gas. Now that bowel gas, what is it? The enteric brain. You should have some gas in the large intestine, not a bunch in the small intestine, because that means you've got low stomach acid. Low stomach acid means you're not killing some of the pathogenic bacteria. And it happens so much now, they named it called SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, because it's happening in everyone. So all of this, is it actually a disease or an adaptation? Okay, what would the medical world do? And this is so far psychotic, okay, so far completely removed from normal anatomy and physiology, our medical system, because it's from pharmaceutical training. Okay, you got the ill, we got the pill. Okay, so what drug are they going to give? Well, they're going to start off with Advil, Motrin, Aleve, or a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. Okay, what does that do? It inhibits the building block of cartilage. Okay, that means they can't regenerate joints. Or they give a steroid. What does that do? That limits your body's ability to adapt to the environment. So you're more predisposed to viruses, funguses, and bacterial infections. Does she have good digestion or poor digestion? You're right. Omeprazole. So that decreases stomach acid, causing her body to not assimilate the nutrients, okay, particularly minerals. When it even says cardiac arrhythmia is on there. Okay, virtually every chemical to alter a symptom, and she's going to what? Okay, let me do it, Paul. The third best rheumatoid specialist, the second best, or the best? It's always the best. Nobody, any hospital in the country, every hospital's got with the best. Okay. You know, I'm at Huntington Hospital. We got the fourth best guy, but he is so good looking. You're going to love working with him. Understand, we have 5 things the body has to do. You have to assimilate nutrients. So anything that damages the digestive process, which is your enteric brain, that means you put toxic crap in your system, you're going to get a toxic crap body. Okay, if you take medications that alter and slow or stop metabolic processes, that's not good for you. Okay, if you've had massive trauma, you're missing organs, you're run over and you're taking medications for a short period of time to get over that. Because let me tell you, being hit by a car, I've been there. Okay, morphine feels good. Okay, but after 2 days, I don't want to take it. Okay, because God, it felt really good. Okay, so I don't want that. Yeah, you should know my history growing up. Okay, now excretion of waste. What does morphine do? It slows down your metabolic processes. It backs you up. And I saw a commercial. If you're taking opioids, by God, take this drug to stop that constipation. Okay, It also suppresses lung function. Lung function is how your body alkalinizes. So how many people on opioids become constipated, anxiety, stress, depression? Does that help their body's ability to reproduce itself or harm it? It's just dumb. Growth, reproduction, adaptation. Now, I love this. Origins of evolution of Western diet, basis for epidemiologic chronic disease. This means that many diseases associated with contemporary Western populations spreading across the globe has risen through the discordance between our ancient genetically influenced biology, thank you God, okay, and the dietary culture and physical activity pattern of modern societies. Obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, dyslipidemias, that's cholesterol stuff, osteoporosis, bowel disorders, inflammatory autoimmune diseases, and several cancers are not diseases. They are adaptations to a toxic and deficient environment because you cannot regenerate yourself if you're taking poisonous stuff. Here's an adaptation. This young gal, that little thing I got an arrow on, that's a calcified tumor. Now, if you're raised in a toxic environment, are tumors attacking you, or does your body build the tumors to wall off toxins. Okay, now when we looked at this, okay, I said, look, it's calcified. For a tumor to show up, that means it's been there for a long time, and the body laid down this calcific matrix. And now, I mean, I rarely order CT scans, rarely order MRIs, but when you see something unusual like this, you want to make sure that the body's walling off everything, that it's not missing something. Okay, does that make sense? Sure. Luckily, the report came back, everything, it's all walled off. And this is typically some type of pathogen, like bacterial, funguses, things like that. And if you're in the middle of America, you look at the Mississippi, you go 500 miles either side, that's a cancer belt. Why? Because we're changing our environment. We're spraying this herbicide that destroys the bacteria inside of the soil. It's destroying a lot of the plants. It's in the air. It's in the water. It's a mineral chelator. Oh, we need minerals for our digestive process, and we need minerals in order to utilize our vitamins. Sorry, you're getting sprayed with this stuff. It's in the food. It's in the air. It's in the water. It's also an antibiotic. So it's destroying the gut bacteria. That's 80% of your immune system. That's the canal, okay? So, I mean, thank God this gal's genetically smart, okay? Now, the contributions to medical society, because if you're watching CNN, there is, the difference between God and a medical doctor? Okay, God doesn't think he's a medical doctor. Okay, no, I heard that years ago, and it's just so pertinent today, okay? The questionable contribution to medical measures to the decline of mortality in the 20th century. When you question the religion of medicine, when you question the religion of the medical education, because it is a religion, it requires a belief system. Hell, when you look at, anybody know how Tylenol works? No, neither do they. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors for anxiety? No. Its mechanism is believed to. It's believed to do this. It's believed to. Okay, that's a religion. The introducing the medical heresy, the modern heresy that medical care, as it's traditionally conceived, is generally unrelated to improvements in health of the populations. It's still dismissed as unthinkable in much the same way as so-called heresies of former times. History is replete with examples of how, understandably, self-interested individuals and groups denounce popular customs and belief which appear to threaten their own domains of practice, thereby rendering them heresies. Midwives, burned at the stake. Spanish Inquisition. Vast institutional resources have been deployed to neutralize challenges, assumptions which everyday organizational activities were founded and legitimized. Spanish Inquisition, current situation in Australia and New Zealand. Oh, no, it didn't say that. Okay, so now, this is really a cool article or book. If you get a chance to read it, it was one of the references for that. I just want to read a little excerpt out of it. People, including medical people, were more amused than provoked when Shaw described the medical service as murderous absurdity and referred to physicians, among other things, as credulous impostors, petulant scientific coxcombs, and parasites on disease. In Ilyich, Medical Nemesis, the conclusions were much about the same, but the tone was different, with passion and without humor. He described the medical role as threat to society as well as patients that can only be removed by a public unfrocking the offended practitioners. The grounds for this proposal are said to be threefold. Medicine does more harm than good. It breeds demands for its services and support features of society which will generate ill health. Most seriously, it diminishes the capacity of the individual to deal with, the standard environment. Is that happening today? Yes. This was 40 years ago. Okay, or 50 years ago. So when we're looking at this, this is happening all the time. You want to see what breast cancer looks like before it becomes breast cancer? Is breast cancer a problem of the breast, or is it all systemic? It has to do with the immune system. Common sense says immune system. If it's just the breast, cut it off and you've cleared. Have you ever heard of somebody doing a mastectomy, the chemo, the radiation, and oh my God, it came back? Okay, yeah. So we're looking at loss of curve. We're looking at the massive deviation. This puts the body in a stress state, which means that the body is trying to wall off toxins if they're exposed to it. They can't reproduce tissue cell healthy. Okay, so your body is a tissue producing machine. Most diseases are a tissue production problem. What about viruses? Now, this is Beauchamp and Pasteur. This argument's been going on for forever, but Pasteur didn't have the media in his pocket. Okay, so now you are educated by that little box, okay, that's telling you over and over and over again, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. We have one solution, only one solution, it's for everyone, and turn in your neighbor if they're not going for the solution. Is it the virus that infects you, or is it that you have a sick tissue and the pathogen grows in that sick tissue? Let's look at it. What's a virus? Institute of Human Virology, Fabio Romero. It's not a living organism. It's simply a well-organized molecular parasite. So, wow, isn't that interesting? So it's a parasite. So it's attacking tissue that it can grow in. And you heard this panic from, the Imperial College of London. One person infects another, those infect another, those infect another, those infect another. Oh my God, we're all going to die. Okay. That can never happen because it assumes 100% infectivity, 100% susceptibility. Okay, and so we have data on all viruses. This one is kind of cool, the Voldemort one. So we're going to go over that because how many percentage got it? How many percentage recovered? How many percentage died? Who was it that died? Who was it that got the Voldemort? Okay. Well, there was a thing back in February last year called the Diamond Princess. 3,711 people. Okay. It was all over the news. And so these people, they're not walking around with masks, social distancing, or any of that stuff. They're all eating the same food, breathing the same air. It circulates around in there. Okay. Now, out of these, once the virus had covered 19%, it stopped. Why? Because it goes to susceptibles, not to everyone. It goes to susceptibles. And who were the susceptibles? Well, in the 70 to 79 age group, there were 1,015 people in that age group, 70 to 79. 6 people died. Now, you might think, why don't we look at the 1,009 people that didn't die? Okay, or why don't we look at the ones that are dying? Were they taking ACE inhibitors? Yes, they were. Were they taking cholesterol drugs? Yes, they were. Were they healthy, tennis-playing, 70, 80-year-old people? No, they weren't. Okay, now in the 80 to 89 age group, there were 216 of them. One person died. Now that means 215 didn't die. Okay, so when you're looking at this, if we want to panic the public, okay, then, because this is the whole purpose of this, would you have the facts that says, look, healthy young people are going to be okay? No, not when you actually want to do it. But we can't talk about that in this section. We will talk more about this in the part that they could have the ability to censor. So here we go on immune system. Anything that helps your immune system is good. Anything that weakens your immune system is okay, good. Good. Boy, that was easy. Done with that talk. Okay. So stress is good. Too much stress is bad. Drugs temporarily, okay, can keep you alive. Long term, they slow and stop a metabolic process. They weaken your immune system. They all have multiple effects. I know they're called side effects, but they're called multiple effects. Okay. Just watch the standard commercial. Nutrient deficiencies. That means if you're putting stuff in that your body can't utilize, you're in deep trouble. Okay. You can't utilize a Cheeto. Okay. Unless it's a fire starter. Okay. Sedentary lifestyle. You need movement, lack of sleep. I mean, it's so simple. You look at how the blue zone and how people live. Here you go. 80-year-old gal. Okay. She's got a reverse curve in her neck and had a Parkinson's diagnosis. So now, is that a reproduction problem? This is her blood analysis. Now what's interesting is the omeprazole. This is an antacid. Now, reflux doesn't come from too much acid, it comes from too little acid. And she's taken a drug that causes less stomach acid so she can't absorb minerals. Without minerals, you can't utilize vitamins. And so, what doctor in the world would be that stupid to prescribe a reflux medication instead of fixing the friggin' problem? Well, miss, you have a lower esophageal sphincter problem. We just did an x-ray of your neck. We found out that you have massive forward head carriage, reverse curve, and advancing degeneration. We're suspecting that the nerve to the diaphragm is compromised, so the esophagus and the fundus of the stomach are starting to pooch up into that lung area, causing the reflux. So we're going to send you to a corrective chiropractor. He's going to restore the curve in the neck, show you how to drop the stomach down, eliminating the reflux. We're going to get you on a plant-based organic diet. You're not going to drink any water a half hour before a meal, during a meal, or a half hour after. And so your body, you can eliminate the medications in a day. Was that done? No. Epigenetics. Permanent changes in the epigenome. What causes permanent changes in your genomic expression? Every drug out there, cholesterol drugs, antidepressants, beta blockers, diuretics, these things alter your genetic expression that's been there for thousands and thousands of years. What kind of stuff will happen if you alter your genetic expression utilizing a chemical to change a reaction or an adaptation to your body? Cancer, heart disease, mental disorders, obesity, diabetes. 60% of Americans have a chronic illness they'll never get over. 54% of our children have that. That means our species is not going to be long here. Assimilation of nutrients, excretion of waste, growth, reproduction, and adaptation. Anything you do in life that helps this helps you live long and healthy. Anything you do in life that eliminates or decreases the function of any one of these processes, you die early and you die bad. Welcome to America. We can take this back now. You're looking at normal blood, stress blood, chronically stressed blood. This is an adaptation. When I say stress, that means there's not good nutrients, there's not good production of tissue. There is an adaptation to chronic stress. Another gal, Parkinson's or adaptations. Decent neck, a little bit of grade 2 arthritis, plus 80. We're looking at significant toxicities. And it's amazing because this gal just has been here for a week. Okay, I think a week and a half. And we're starting to see significant differences. Not because we're correcting Parkinson's. Is the shaking of Parkinson's a problem or an adaptation? Adaptation. We go back 100 years, okay? There was the 1918 flu epidemic. They wanted to find out how it was transferred. They thought they had an idea that it was transferred through sneezing, everything else, personal contact, they were doing masking and all sorts of insane practices. So they took 100 Navy volunteers. I know they eat nothing but organic, okay. First volunteers received one strain. So they had this bacillus that they isolated from some of the people. And so they put it up their nose, down their throat, rubbed it in their eyes. Not one person got sick. Then they had a bunch of people who were sick cough up and spit in a thing. So they put the mucus in their eyes, up their nose, down their throat. Not one person got sick. Next, 13 of the volunteers were taken into an influenza ward, exposed to 10 patients each. Each volunteer was told to shake hands with the patient, talk to him at close range, and permit the patient to cough to him directly into his face. That's 10 times each person. Not one got sick. Okay? Oh, what would Beauchamp say? It's the terrain. It's not the virus. So you're talking 100 healthy Navy guys around at the end of World War I. At the end of World War I, you're partying. Okay, clearly puzzled, caution against drawing conclusions. We entered the outbreak with the notion that we knew the cause of disease and we're quite sure we knew how it was a transmission person to person. Perhaps if we've learned anything, that is, we're not quite sure we know about the disease. No kidding. Louis Pasteur, this is out of the International Journal of Vaccine and Vaccinology. There is no medical doctrine as potentially dangerous as the partial truth, implemented as the whole truth. In America 2020. Any medical profession, bioscientist, healthcare practitioner, or layperson for that matter, who wishes to gain insight into the origins and nature of infectious and chronic illness against the backdrop of a marvelous view of the life process must consider Beauchamp. Absolutely. You are made in the image and likeness of God. If you don't understand your spiritual nature, okay, believe that you're billion-year-old, bacteria, and you're smart, you're adaptive, okay? That's what every class I've ever taught. Okay, you are made in the image and likeness of God. You were designed to live here. You were made out of stardust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You are animated earth. Health is your natural state. Disease is an adaptation. You are self-healing and self-regulating. And you are endowed by your Creator. You are angels. When I talk to doctors and staff, okay, I say, look, you have a responsibility. These are angels. These are spiritual beings coming into our office. You have got to put forth the extra effort. If you're not willing to do it, get the hell out, okay? Because you have a responsibility to restore, to eliminate the interference that's causing this person not to express their own life. Okay, does that make sense? This is what you should. And inalienable rights, these are rights not given to you temporarily. They're not privileges. They're things that as an essentiate being, these are your rights. God, I almost said the F word. Okay. God, I'm getting so better at self-censorship. 5 keys: nerve supply, exercise, nutrition, rest, and prayer and meditation. Can you see how simple it is? So the doctors of the future, and I'm talking 50 years from now, they're going to look back at this time and say, my God, we have got to keep those rights inalienable so that the press, the media, how people get their information isn't controlled by one group, because then you have one thought, then you have one control, and don't worry, you won't own anything, but you'll be happy. Honest to God, check out Klaus Schwab. And I don't know if he has a hairless cat, but he looks like he should. Okay, we're gonna stop. Okay, the information now, and you can tell. I mean, I'm like at the edge of this. Okay, I didn't say anything other than Voldemort. Okay, so we should be okay. But thank you very much for watching this. Appreciate what your body is. Look in the mirror and smile. Okay, because you deserve the best. Now, we're going to be switching over to, so I'll see you later. We're going to be switching to the Dr. B VIP, where the Ministry of Truth cannot go right now.